Taiwan crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnel, his hands covered in grease and dirt. The air was hot and smelled like burned metal. He could hear the hum of the ship's engines beneath him, a constant reminder that he was trapped on the Vraxian warship called the Crimson Talon. This had been his life for 5 years now. Crawl, fix, clean, sleep. Then do it all again. He was 28 years old, but he felt older, much older. His body ached from the work, and his mind was tired from the fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of the Vraxian guards. Fear of what tomorrow might bring. Taiwan finished replacing the broken coolant line and backed out of the tunnel. His sister Hana was waiting for him in the corridor. She looked worried, which was normal. Hana always looked worried these days. They brought someone new to the ship, she whispered. Someone important. Taiwan wiped his hands on his dirty clothes. Another prisoner? Taiwan. Not just any prisoner, Hana said, looking around to make sure no guards were nearby. They're saying it's Dravash. The hunter. The one they call the Endless. Taiwan felt his blood go cold. Everyone in the galaxy knew that name. Dravash the Endless, a Korathi warrior who had killed thousands. Some said he was unstoppable. Some said he was a monster. The Vraxians had been hunting him for years. They finally caught him? Taiwan asked. Hana nodded. They used some kind of trap. Poison, I think. They didn't fight him fair. And now Commander Vraltek is bragging about it to everyone. They're going to execute him on the capital world. Make it a big show. Taiwan didn't know what to say. Part of him was curious. Part of him was afraid. The Vraxians were cruel masters. But at least life was predictable. An execution meant more attention, more guards, more danger for the human workers. Stay away from the detention level, Taiwan told his sister. Don't go near that prisoner. But 3 days later, Taiwan received his new assignment. Commander Vraltek himself delivered the news. A cruel smile on his reptilian face. Human? The commander said, looking down at Taiwan like he was an insect. You will maintain the special detention cell. Clean it. Check the power systems. Keep the prisoner alive until we reach the capital. If anything goes wrong, you die first. Understand? Taiwan understood. He always understood. That was how humans survived under Vraxian rule. They nodded, obeyed, and tried not to die. The detention level was different from the rest of the ship. Quieter, colder. Heavy security doors blocked every entrance. Guards stood at attention, their weapons ready. Taiwan felt their eyes on him as he walked past, carrying his tools. The cell was at the end of the corridor. It was a cube made of energy fields, crackling with blue light. Inside, Taiwan could see a figure sitting on the floor. The prisoner was large, even by alien standards. His skin was dark, gray, almost black, with strange markings that looked like scars or tattoos. He wore torn clothing and heavy restraints on his wrists and ankles. This was Dravash the Endless, the galaxy's most feared hunter. Taiwan tried not to look at him. He opened his toolbox and began checking the power conduits that fed the containment field. His hands shook slightly. He hoped no one noticed. You are afraid, a deep voice said. Taiwan froze. The prisoner was speaking to him. Speaking to a human. That never happened. I'm just doing my work, Taiwan said quietly. Fear is natural, Dravash said. His voice was rough but not unkind. You are small, weak, surrounded by predators. Of course you fear. Taiwan didn't respond. He kept working, checking connections and cleaning dust from the power units. But I smell something else on you. Dravash continued. Beneath the fear. Something hotter. What is that? Little human. I don't know what you mean, Taiwan said. Anger, Dravash said. You are angry. Why? Taiwan stopped working. He shouldn't be having this conversation. It was dangerous. But the words came out anyway. Why do you care? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Dravash laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound. Why do I care? Because you are interesting. The Vraxians see you as slaves, as tools. But I see something different. I see fire trying to burn through ice. That night, Taewon couldn't sleep. He lay on his thin mattress in the crowded servant quarters, surrounded by 50 other humans, and thought about what the prisoner had said, fire trying to burn through ice. What did that mean? The next day, he returned to the detention level, and the day after that. Each time, Dravosh spoke to him. Not about anything important. Just small talk. Questions about Taewon's life, his work, his sister. You have family on this ship? Dravosh asked on the fourth day. My sister, Taewon said. She works in medical. You protect her? I try to. That is good, Dravosh said. Family is everything. Honor is everything. These concepts, your captors do not understand them. Taewon found himself curious despite his fear. Why did you fight the Vraxians? Everyone knows you killed their generals. Their warriors. Why? Dravosh was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice softer than before. Because they break the codes. They fight without honor. They attack the weak. Torture prisoners. Destroy entire worlds for profit. I am a hunter. Human. I kill. Yes, but I kill warriors, enemies who can fight back. I do not slaughter children. I do not enslave entire species. He paused. Your people. The humans. I remember them from long ago. Before you fell, you were fighters. Clever. Brave. What happened? Taewon felt something crack inside his chest. We lost. The Vraxians came with more ships, more weapons. Earth fell 3 generations ago. Now we serve. You kneel, Dravosh said. We survive, Taewon shot back, surprised by his own anger. Is there a difference? The hunter asked. That question haunted Taewon. Was there a difference? His grandfather used to tell stories about Earth, about humans who fought and died free. But those were just stories now. Ancient history. Reality was this ship, these chains, this life of service and fear. On the 7th day, something changed. Taewon arrived at the detention level and saw Commander Vraltek inside the cell. 2 guards held Dravosh, while the commander hit him with an electric rod. The hunter didn't scream. He didn't beg. He just took the pain in silence. Vraltek saw Taewon watching and smiled. Come here, human. Watch what happens to those who defy the Empire. Taewon stepped closer, his stomach turning. This creature killed 300 of our warriors, Vraltek said, hitting Dravosh again. But look at him now. Helpless. Weak. Just like you. Just like all inferior species. He laughed. In 5 days, we reach the capital. There, we will cut off his head in front of billions. And after that, he turned to look at Taewon directly. After that, we cull the excess human workers. We have too many. You are expensive to feed. The words hit Taewon like a punch. Cull. That meant killing. That meant Hana. Vraltek left, still laughing. The guards left. And Taewon stood there, shaking, his whole world crumbling. Now you understand, Dravosh said quietly from inside the cell. There is no safety in chains, no future in service. They will kill you anyway. The only question is whether you die on your knees or on your feet. Taewon looked at the hunter. Their eyes met. What would you do? Taewon asked. Dravosh smiled, showing his sharp teeth. I would burn everything. Taewon told Hana everything that night. They sat in a dark corner of the servant quarters, speaking in whispers while others slept around them. 5 days, Hana said, her voice shaking. They're going to kill us in 5 days. 5 days. Not if we do something first, Taewon said. The words surprised him. He had never talked about doing something before. Never talked about fighting back. What can we do? Hana asked. We're humans. We have no weapons, no training. They have everything. Taewon didn't have an answer. Not yet. But something had changed inside him after watching Commander Vraltek torture Dravosh. Something had woken up. The fire that the hunter talked about, it was burning now, hot and bright. The next morning, Taewon went to see Kyungmin. The old man was in his 70s, one of the oldest humans still alive on the ship. He worked in the storage bays, moving boxes and supplies. Most people ignored him. They thought he was just a tired old worker waiting to die. But Taewon knew different. Kyungmin remembered things. Old things. True things about Earth and humanity that the Vraxians tried to erase. I need to talk to you, Taewon said quietly. Kyungmin looked around, then nodded. Follow me. They went deep into the storage bays, past rows of containers and supplies. Finally, in a small empty space between two large crates, Kyungmin stopped. What troubles you, young one? The old man asked. They're going to kill us, Taewon said. In 5 days. Half of all humans on this ship. Commander Vraltek said it himself. Kyungmin nodded slowly, like he already knew. The cull? Yes. I heard whispers. The Vraxians do this sometimes when they have too many workers. We have to do something, Taewon said. Like what? Taewon took a deep breath. Free the prisoner. Dravosh. If we free him, maybe he can help us. Kyungmin stared at him for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. I was wondering when someone would finally think of that. You were thinking about it too? Not just thinking, Kyungmin said. He pulled out a small device from his pocket. It looked like an old communicator, scratched and worn. There are others, Taewon. Other humans. Not on this ship, but out there. Hidden. Fighting. Waiting. Taewon felt his heart race. A resistance? That's just stories. Legends. No, Kyungmin said firmly. It's real. I've been in contact with them for 3 years now. Small groups scattered across the galaxy. They're weak, yes, unorganized, but they exist. And they've been waiting for a moment like this. What moment? A symbol, Kyungmin said. Something to inspire people. Something to show that humans can still fight. If we free Dravosh the Endless, if we escape from a Vraxian warship, that would be something worth hearing about. That would wake people up. Taewon sat down heavily on a crate. This was bigger than he thought. Bigger and more dangerous. Can we actually do this? He asked. I don't know, Kyungmin admitted. But we die in 5 days anyway. Might as well die trying. Yes, they made a plan. It was rough and full of holes. But it was something. Kyungmin would use his communicator to alert the resistance. He would also gather other humans who might help, people who were brave enough or desperate enough to fight. Hana would steal medical supplies and tools from the medical bay. They would need them after the escape. She would also map out the guard rotations near the detention level, and Taewon would sabotage the ship's systems. Small things at first. Making problems that would pull guards away from the detention level at the right time. He knew the ship's maintenance systems better than anyone. He could make things break exactly when needed. They had 3 days to prepare. 3 days before the ship reached the capital world. Taewon worked faster than ever before. During his regular maintenance duties, he planted small faults in different systems. A coolant leak here. A power fluctuation there. Nothing big enough to cause alarms, but enough to be annoying. Enough to require attention. He also talked more with Dravosh. The hunter seemed to sense something was different. You have decided something, Dravosh said during one visit. I can see it in your eyes. Taewon looked around to make sure no guards were listening. If I asked you to fight alongside humans, would you? Dravosh tilted his head, curious. I have fought alongside humans before, long ago. Before your world fell. They were good warriors. Clever. Brave. I would be honored to fight with them again. Even though we're weak? Taewon asked. Strength is not just muscles, Dravosh said. You humans have something rare. You adapt. You survive. You find ways to win even when you should lose. That is true strength. Those words gave Taewon courage. He needed it. Because the plan was terrifying. On the third day, 12 humans gathered in the deep storage bay. Kyungmin had found them all. Some were young. Some were old. Some were scared. Some were angry, but all of them knew they were going to die soon anyway. Tomorrow night, Kyungmin said, that's when we move. The ship will be running at minimal night crew. Taewon will create malfunctions that pull guards away from detention. Hana will have medical supplies ready. Jinwoo will help us get to the escape shuttles. Jinwoo was a young man, maybe 25, who worked in the engineering section. He knew how to bypass security locks. What about after we free the prisoner? A woman named Yuna asked. She was older, maybe 40, with scars on her arms. What if he kills us? He won't, Taewon said, though he wasn't completely sure. He hates the Vraxians. He'll help us. And if you're wrong? Yuna pressed. Then we die a little sooner than planned, Kyungmin said simply. Either way, we're not dying as slaves. We're dying as fighters. That night, Taewon couldn't sleep at all. He lay on his mattress and thought about everything that could go wrong. The guards might catch them. Dravosh might betray them. The ship might blow them out of space before they even reached the escape shuttles. But he also thought about what Dravosh had said. About fire burning through ice. About humans being clever and brave. About dying on your feet instead of your knees. Hana found him before dawn. Are you ready? She asked. No, Taewon admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. She smiled, though her eyes were full of fear. That's the bravest thing I've ever heard you say. The day passed slowly. Taewon did his normal work, but his hands shook the whole time. He saw Commander Vraltek in the corridor and felt rage burn in his chest. This creature wanted to kill his sister, wanted to kill dozens of innocent humans just because they were expensive to feed. Not anymore. Tomorrow, everything would change. That evening, Kyungmin gathered everyone one last time. The old man looked at each of them. His eyes, sad but determined. Some of us won't survive tomorrow, he said quietly. Maybe all of us won't survive. But what we do tomorrow will echo. Other humans will hear about it. They'll remember that we fought, that we didn't just accept our fate. That matters, that means something. For Earth, Jinwoo said suddenly. For Earth, others repeated. Taewon looked at his sister. She nodded at him. They were ready. Tomorrow night, Kyungmin said. We break our chains. Taewon returned to his quarters and lay down. His heart pounded in his chest. In less than 24 hours, they would either be free or dead. There was no middle ground anymore. He closed his eyes and tried to rest, but all he could see was fire. Fire burning through ice. Fire burning through chains. Fire burning through everything that held them down. Tomorrow, he would find out if that fire was strong enough to set them free, or if it would just burn them all to ash. Either way, Taewon decided, it was better than living one more day as a slave. The plan started falling apart within the first 5 minutes. Taewon triggered the maintenance alarms exactly as planned. Systems across 3 different decks began failing at once. Red lights flashed. Sirens blared. Guards rushed away from their posts to deal with the problems. But one guard stayed at the detention level. Just one. He should have left like the others. But he didn't. He stood at his post, weapon ready, watching the corridor. Taewon, Hana, Jinwoo, and 8 other humans hid around the corner. They had made it this far. They had tools, improvised weapons, stolen access cards. But they couldn't get past one armed Vraxian guard. What do we do? Hana whispered. Taewon looked at the others. They were all scared. Most had never fought before. Neither had he. They were maintenance workers, cleaners, medical assistants. Not soldiers. We rush him, Yuna said. She was holding a metal pipe. All at once, He can't shoot all of us. Some of us will die, Jinwoo said. We're already dead, Yuna replied. Taewon felt sick. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. But Yuna was right. They had no choice now. On 3, he said. His voice didn't sound like his own. 1, 2, the guard's head exploded. Everyone froze. The guard's body fell to the floor. Behind it stood another Vraxian. But this one wore a maintenance uniform. It took Taewon a moment to realize it wasn't a Vraxian at all. It was Kyungmin, wearing guard armor that was way too big for him. He held a plasma rifle in his shaking hands. Found this in storage, the old man said. Thought it might be useful. You killed him, Hana breathed. Yes, Kyungmin said simply. And now? The alarms will know. We have maybe 2 minutes. Move, they ran. Jinwoo reached the detention cell controls first. His fingers flew over the panel, entering codes and bypassing security. Sweat dripped down his face. Come on, he muttered. The cell deactivated. The energy field disappeared. Inside, Dravash stood up slowly. The restraints on his wrists and ankles sparked and smoked as he broke them like they were made of paper. Well, the hunter said, looking at the humans gathered around him. This is unexpected. We're getting you out, Taewon said. But we need your help. Dravash smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Then let's move. Alarms screamed through the ship. Every light turned red. Lockdown protocols activated. Heavy doors began sealing across all corridors. The hangar bay, Kyungmin shouted. Deck 7, we have to reach it before everything locks down. They ran through the corridors. Dravash was weak from torture and imprisonment, but he still moved like a predator. When they rounded a corner and found 3 Vraxian guards, the hunter moved faster than Taewon could follow. 2 guards died in seconds. The third fired his weapon, hitting Dravash in the shoulder. The hunter didn't even slow down. He grabbed the guard's head and twisted. The sound made Taewon want to throw up. Take their weapons, Dravash ordered. You'll need them. Hana grabbed a plasma rifle with shaking hands. Yuna took another. Jinwoo picked up an energy pistol. The other humans armed themselves with whatever they could carry. They kept running. More guards appeared. Dravash taught them as they fought. Don't aim center mass, he shouted while dodging plasma bolts. They wear armor there. Aim for joints. Necks. Heads. Taewon fired his stolen rifle and missed completely. He fired again and hit a guard in the leg. The Vraxian fell, screaming. Another human finished him with a metal pipe. This was war. This was what fighting looked like. It was ugly and terrifying and nothing like the old stories. They reached the hangar bay, but the doors were sealed. Jinwoo ran to the control panel and began working. Plasma bolts hit the wall around him, burning holes in the metal. Hurry! Yuna screamed. She fired back at the Vraxian forces gathering behind them. I'm trying, Jinwoo shouted. Commander Vraltek's voice boomed over the ship's speakers. Human slaves. You cannot escape. Surrender now and die quickly. Resist, and I will make you suffer for days. Keep working, Dravash said. He stood in front of Jinwoo, protecting him. Plasma bolts hit his body, burning his skin. But he didn't move. He didn't fall. How are you still standing? Taewon asked, firing at the guards. Will, Dravash said simply. And rage. The hangar doors suddenly opened. Jinwoo fell back from the panel, exhausted. Go! Get inside! The humans rushed through. The hangar bay was massive, filled with ships and equipment. Small escape shuttles lined one wall, but so did more guards, at least 20 of them, already positioned and waiting. It's a trap, Hana yelled. The guards opened fire. Plasma bolts filled the air like angry hornets. 2 humans fell immediately, their bodies burning. Another screamed and went down, clutching her leg. This was it. This was where they would die. They were trapped between guards in front and guards behind. Kyungmin stepped forward. He still held the plasma rifle. His old hands were steady. "Get to the shuttle," he said calmly. "I'll buy you time." "No." Taewon grabbed his arm. "Come with us. Listen to me," Kyungmin said. He looked at Taewon with eyes that were sad, but peaceful. "I'm 74 years old. I'm slow. I'll just slow you down. But I can do this. I can give you a chance." He smiled. "Tell the others. Tell everyone who will listen. Tell them we never forgot who we were." Before Taewon could argue, Kyungmin ran toward the guard positions. He fired his rifle, screaming words in an ancient Earth language that Taewon didn't understand. The guards focused on him. Dozens of plasma bolts hitting the old man, but it gave the others precious seconds. Dravosh grabbed Taewon and dragged him toward the nearest shuttle. "Don't waste his sacrifice. Move." They ran. Hana, Yuna, Jinwoo, and 4 other humans made it to the shuttle. Only 7 survivors out of 12. Jinwoo jumped into the pilot's seat and started the engines. Plasma bolts hit the shuttle's hull. Shields flickered and sparked. "The bay doors are sealed," Jinwoo said. "I can't open them from here. Then we break through," Dravosh said. He pushed Jinwoo aside and took the controls. His hands moved across the panel like he had flown this ship 1,000 times before. The shuttle lifted off. Guards fired at them. One bolt hit the engine, causing alarms to scream. "Hold on!" Dravosh yelled. The shuttle turned and accelerated straight at the bay doors. Taewon closed his eyes. This was insane. They were going to die. They were going to crash and die, and it would all be for nothing. The impact threw everyone forward. Metal screamed. Something exploded. But they broke through. The bay doors shattered, and the shuttle flew out into space. Behind them, the Crimson Talon began pursuit. The massive warship's weapons lit up like stars. "They're firing," Hana screamed. Dravosh piloted the shuttle like a madman, diving and twisting through space. Energy beams missed them by meters. One caught their rear shield, and the whole shuttle shook. "We can't outrun them," Jinwoo said. "We don't have to outrun them," Dravosh replied. "Just outlast them." "Look," he pointed ahead. An asteroid field. Thousands of rocks, some small as pebbles, some big as buildings, all tumbling through space. "You're going in there?" Yuna asked. "We'll die. We'll die out here for sure," Dravosh said. "In there, we have a chance." The shuttle dove into the asteroid field. The Crimson Talon followed. But it was too big, too slow. Asteroids smashed against its shields. The warship fired its weapons, but kept missing as Dravosh weaved between the rocks. An alarm blared. The shuttle's engine was failing. Smoke filled the cabin. "We're losing power," Jinwoo shouted. Ahead, Taewon saw a large asteroid. On its surface, there were structures. Old buildings, ruins of some ancient civilization. "There," he pointed. "Land there." Dravosh aimed the dying shuttle toward the asteroid. They hit hard, skidding across the surface. Metal shrieked. Something else exploded. The shuttle flipped once, twice, then finally stopped. Everything was quiet, except for alarms and the hiss of escaping air. "Everyone alive?" Dravosh asked. Groans answered him. Taewon checked himself. Bruises, cuts, but nothing broken. He looked at Hana. She was bleeding from her forehead, but conscious. "We made it," she said, sounding amazed. Through the cracked window, Taewon could see the Crimson Talon in the distance. It was too big to follow them into the asteroid field, but it wasn't leaving either. It was waiting. "They'll send soldiers," Dravosh said. "Soon. We need to move. Find shelter." Taewon looked at the ruins around them. They had escaped the ship. They had freed the galaxy's deadliest hunter. But now they were stranded on a dead rock in space, with an entire warship hunting them. Kyungmin was dead. 3 others were dead. And their shuttle was destroyed. But they were free. For the first time in their lives, they were free. Taewon helped Hana stand. Together, the 7 survivors walked toward the ruins. Behind them, the sun rose over the asteroid's horizon, painting everything in gold. They had broken their chains. Now they just had to survive long enough for it to matter. The ruins were older than anything Taiwan had ever seen. Towers of strange metal reached toward the sky, covered in alien writing. Bridges connected buildings that had stood empty for maybe thousands of years. Whatever species built this place was long gone, but the structures still worked. Some of them, anyway. Jinwoo found power still flowing through ancient cables. Hana discovered rooms that could seal and hold air. It wasn't much, but it was shelter. The 7 survivors made camp in what might have been a temple or meeting hall. It had 4 walls, a roof, and doors that still closed. Good enough. Dravosh stood at the entrance, looking up at the sky. The Crimson Talon was up there somewhere. Waiting. Hunting. They'll send soldiers, he said. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe the day after. Commander Vraltek will want revenge. He'll come himself. How many? Taiwan asked. A full kill squad. 20 warriors, maybe more. All trained. All experienced. Dravosh looked at the humans. You have 7 people. Most of you have never fought before. 2 are injured. You have 3 weapons with limited charge. So we're dead, Yuna said flatly. Probably, Dravosh agreed. Unless we prepare. Hana was bandaging a young woman named Mireille, who had broken her arm in the crash. Another survivor, an older man called Dongho, was checking their supplies. It wasn't good. They had food for maybe 3 days. Water for 2. Medical supplies were almost gone. What kind of preparation can we do in 2 days? Taiwan asked. Dravosh smiled. I can teach you to fight. Really fight. Not like you did on the ship. That was panic and luck. This will be different. He looked at each of them. Who wants to learn? Everyone raised their hands. Even Mireille with her broken arm. Even Dongho, who was maybe 60 years old. Good, Dravosh said. Then we start now. The training was brutal. Dravosh didn't believe in gentle lessons. He showed them how to move, how to aim, how to use their environment as a weapon. Vraxians are stronger than you, he explained while demonstrating a combat stance. Faster than you. Their armor protects them. You cannot win a fair fight. Then how do we win? Jinwoo asked. You don't fight fair, Dravosh said. You use traps. Ambushes. Their arrogance against them. Vraxians think they're superior. They think you're weak and stupid. Make them believe it, then strike when they're not ready. He taught Taiwan how to hold a rifle properly, how to aim at weak points in Vraxian armor, neck joints, knee joints, the space under their arms, places where the armor couldn't cover. You'll get 1 shot, maybe 2, Dravosh said. Make them count. Don't spray and pray. Breathe, aim, fire. Taiwan practiced for hours. His arms hurt, his eyes burned. But slowly, he started hitting the targets Dravosh set up. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Yuna explored the ruins, looking for anything useful. They found old weapons, but none of them worked anymore. They found tools, supplies, strange devices they couldn't identify. Look at this, Yuna said, pointing to a room full of machinery. I think this was some kind of defense system, for the whole complex. Does it still work? Jinwoo asked. Maybe. Some of the power is still flowing. If I can figure out the controls. She studied the strange panels, covered in alien symbols. That night, they sat around a small fire that Dongho made from broken furniture. The flames cast shadows on the ancient walls. Tell me about Earth, Dravosh said suddenly. The real Earth. Before the fall, the humans looked at each other. Most of them had never seen Earth. They were born on ships or colonies, but Dongho was old enough to remember. It was beautiful, he said quietly. Blue and green and white, oceans everywhere, mountains, forests, cities with billions of people. His eyes were distant. I was 15 when the Vraxians came. I remember watching the sky fill with their ships, like stars falling in reverse. Did you fight? Dravash asked. Everyone fought, Dongho said. My parents, my siblings, my friends. We had weapons, armies, ships, but it wasn't enough. The Vraxians were ready for war. We weren't. We were explorers, traders, scientists. Not soldiers. He wiped his eyes. Most of us died in the first year. The rest became slaves. You survived, Dravash pointed out. I survived, Dongho agreed. But I stopped living. Until today. Today, I felt alive again. Dravash nodded. That's what fighting for yourself does. It reminds you that you exist, that you matter. Over the next day, they prepared. Yuna and Jinwoo managed to activate some of the ancient defense systems, turrets that could still fire, doors that could seal and trap, energy barriers that could be turned on and off. Taewon helped Dravosh set up traps throughout the ruins, weak floors that would collapse, wires strung across corridors to trip running soldiers, containers of fuel that could be ignited remotely. We turned this whole place into a death trap, Dravosh explained. Let them come to us. Let them think they're hunting. But really, we're hunting them. On the second day, Hana's medical scanner detected ships entering the asteroid field. 3 small attack craft, moving carefully through the rocks. They're here, she said. Everyone gathered in the main hall. Taewon counted them. 7 humans against 20 or more Vraxian warriors. The odds were terrible. Remember the plan, Dravosh said. Don't try to be heroes. Stay hidden. Let the traps do the work. Only fight when you have advantage. And if we don't have advantage? Mirai asked. Then you run, Dravosh said simply. Live to fight another time. There's no shame in survival. The Vraxian ships landed on the other side of the ruins. Through Yuna's activated scanners, they watched soldiers pour out. 15, 20, 25 warriors, all armed, all armored, all trained to kill. And leading them was Commander Vraltek himself. Taewon recognized his walk, his stance. The commander wanted to kill them personally. Good, Dravosh said, watching the screen. Rage makes people stupid. We can use that. The Vraxians advanced through the ruins, confident, weapons ready but not raised. They expected to find scared humans hiding in corners. They found something different. The first trap was a collapsing floor. 3 warriors fell through, dropping 2 levels. Their screams echoed through the complex. The second trap was an activated energy barrier. It cut the Vraxian force in half, separating them. The third trap was Yuna's reactivated defense turrets. Ancient weapons came to life and fired into the confused soldiers. 4 more died before they even understood what was happening. Now the Vraxians were angry. They started firing at everything, destroying walls and floors and ceilings, looking for the humans. Phase 2, Dravosh whispered. Taewon emerged from hiding. He fired 3 shots at a Vraxian warrior, hitting him in the neck. The warrior fell. Taewon disappeared back into the shadows before others could fire back. Dongho did the same from another position. 1 shot. 1 kill. Then gone. The Vraxians realized they were being hunted. They started moving more carefully, checking corners, watching their backs, but that made them slow, and slow meant vulnerable. Jinwoo triggered a fuel container near a group of 5 warriors. The explosion threw bodies like toys. Only 2 survived, and they were badly burned. Commander Vraltek was screaming orders now. His voice echoed through the ruins. Find them, kill them all, I want their heads. He was close. Very close. Taewon could hear him moving through the corridor below. Dravosh appeared beside Taewon. The hunter had taken weapons from dead Vraxians. He looked stronger now. More like himself. I'll take the commander, Dravosh said. You handle the others. Final phase. Everyone attack at once. Hit them with everything. Taewon nodded. He activated the communicator they had made from salvaged parts. Everyone. Now, all 7 humans emerged from hiding at the same time. They fired from different positions, different angles. The Vraxians suddenly had targets everywhere. Chaos erupted. Plasma bolts filled the air. Explosions rocked the ancient building. Warriors fell. Humans fell. Taewon saw Dongho get hit. The old man kept firing even as he dropped to his knees. He killed one more warrior before dying. Mireille, despite her broken arm, threw a grenade with her good hand. It landed perfectly in a group of 3 Vraxians. The explosion was deafening, but there were still too many warriors. And they were recovering, regrouping, fighting back properly now. Taewon found himself face to face with a Vraxian soldier. The warrior was bigger, stronger, faster. His weapon was aimed right at Taewon's head. Then Yuna appeared behind the warrior and stabbed him in the neck with a metal spike. The Vraxian fell, gurgling. "Stay together," she yelled. They fought back to back now. Taewon, Yuna, Hana, Jinwoo, and Mireille. 5 humans against 8 remaining Vraxian warriors. Below them, Dravosh fought Commander Vraltek. The sound of their battle shook the walls. Roaring. Gunfire. The crash of bodies against metal. One of the Vraxian warriors tried to flank them. Taewon shot him in the leg. Hana finished him with a burst to the head. 4 warriors left. Then 3. Then 2. The last 2 warriors looked at each other. They saw 5 armed humans who had learned to fight, who wouldn't run, who wouldn't surrender. The warriors ran instead. Taewon couldn't believe it. "We won?" A scream echoed from below. Then silence. Dravosh emerged from the lower level. He was covered in blood, limping, wounded in a dozen places. In his hand, he held Commander Vraltek's severed head. "It's done," the hunter said. Then he collapsed. They had won. Against impossible odds, they had actually won. But the cost was high. Dongho was dead. 2 others had died in the fighting. Only 5 humans remained alive. And above them, the Crimson Talon was still waiting. 3 months passed like a dream. Or maybe a nightmare. Taewon couldn't decide which. The Crimson Talon eventually left the asteroid field after 2 weeks. Either they thought everyone was dead, or they had bigger problems to deal with. A ship from the human resistance found the survivors 3 days after that. The resistance was bigger than Taewon imagined. Not an army, but not nothing either. Thousands of humans spread across dozens of worlds. Living in secret. Building weapons. Training, waiting for the right moment. Now they were on Haven Station, a hidden base built inside a dead moon. The station had homes, farms, factories. A whole community of free humans. Taewon had never seen so many of his people in one place, but things were different now. He was different. People knew his name. The story of the escape from the Crimson Talon had spread across the galaxy like fire. 7 humans, armed with almost nothing, had freed Dravosh the Endless and fought off 25 Vraxian warriors. The story grew bigger with each telling. Some called Taewon a hero. Some called him a symbol. He didn't feel like either. He just felt tired. "You're thinking too much again," Hana said. She sat down next to him in the observation deck. Through the window, stars stretched forever. "I'm always thinking," Taewon said. "Someone has to." "Dravosh is looking for you," Hana told him. "The council wants another meeting," Taewon sighed. The council. That was what the resistance leaders called themselves. 12 humans from different colonies. All arguing about what to do next. Some wanted to hide and build strength. Some wanted to attack now while the story was fresh. They all looked to Taewon to decide. He hated that. "I'm not a leader," he said for maybe the 100th time. "Yes, you are," Hana said firmly. "You just don't want to be." There's a difference. Taewon found Dravosh in the training center. The hunter had recovered from his wounds, and now he spent every day teaching humans how to fight. Dozens of them, all ages, all skill levels. "There you are," Dravosh said when he saw Taewon. "Good, I need you to help demonstrate something." "I'm not really in the mood," Taewon said. "Too bad." Dravosh threw him a practice sword. "Attack me." Taewon caught the sword. Around them, 30 humans stopped their training to watch. This happened a lot now. Everywhere Taiwan went, people watched. He raised the sword and moved toward Dravash. The hunter blocked his first strike, then his second. On the third strike, Dravash suddenly stepped inside Taiwan's guard and tapped him on the chest with his practice blade. Dead, Dravash announced. They fought for 10 minutes. Taiwan was better than he used to be. Much better. 3 months of training with the galaxy's deadliest hunter had taught him things he never imagined, but he still couldn't beat Dravash. Finally, breathing hard, Taiwan lowered his sword. Better, Dravash said. You're learning, but you hold back. You're afraid of your own strength. I'm not afraid, Taiwan said. Liar. Dravash turned to the watching crowd. This man freed me from certain death. He led an escape from a warship. He killed Commander Vraltek's forces against impossible odds, and yet he says he's not a leader. What do you think? He's our leader, someone shouted. The Defiant, another voice called. That was the name people were using now. Taiwan, the Defiant. I never asked for this, Taiwan said quietly. No one asks for destiny, Dravash replied. It chooses you. The question is, what you do with it. The council meeting was that evening. Taiwan, Hana, Dravash, Yuna, Jinwoo, and Mireille sat with the 12 council members in a large room. Maps of the galaxy covered the walls. Red markers showed Vraxian territories. Blue markers showed human hiding places. There was a lot more red than blue. An older council member named Suhyun spoke first. 3 new cells have joined the resistance this month. They heard about the Crimson Talon incident. More are reaching out every day. How many people now? Jinwoo asked. Almost 20,000 across all cells, Suhyun said. That's up from 12,000 3 months ago. 20,000 against trillions, another council member said. We're still nothing. We're something, Yuna argued. We're proof that humans can fight back. That matters. It matters if we use it, a council member named Bora said. She was young, maybe 30, and known for her aggressive ideas. We should attack. Hit Vraxian supply lines, free more slaves. Show everyone what we can do. That would expose us, Suhyun countered. We're not ready for open war. When will we be ready? Bora demanded. In 10 years? 20? By then, they'll have found and destroyed us. The arguments went on for an hour. Everyone had opinions. No one could agree. Finally, Dravash stood up. The room went quiet. You're all arguing about the wrong things, the hunter said. The question isn't when to fight. You're already fighting. The question is how to fight smart. He looked at Taiwan. Tell them. Taiwan didn't want to speak, but everyone was looking at him. Waiting. He stood slowly. Dravash is right. We can't win a straight war. The Vraxians have too many ships, too many soldiers, too many resources, but they have a weakness. What weakness? Suhyun asked. Arrogance, Taiwan said. They think they've already won. They think humans are broken and helpless. We use that. We do small raids. Quick attacks. Hit them where they're weak, where they don't expect it. Free slaves. Steal supplies. Every victory spreads the word that humans are still fighting. That brings more people to our side. Guerrilla warfare, Yuna said, understanding. Exactly. Taiwan agreed. We can't beat them in open battle. But we can bleed them. Slowly. Until they start making mistakes. Until other species see that the Vraxians aren't invincible. The council looked at each other. Slowly, people started nodding. It's a long war, Bora said. Yes, Taiwan agreed. Maybe a very long war, but it's a war we can win. The council voted. It was unanimous. They would follow Taiwan's plan. They would fight smart. Not hard. Over the next 2 months, everything changed. Small resistance cells launched raids across a dozen worlds. They freed slave ships. They destroyed supply depots. They ambushed patrol vessels, and every raid used the same tactic. Make the enemy angry. Make them chase, then disappear. The Vraxians called it cowardice. The humans called it survival. Taiwan led 3 raids himself. On a mining colony, they freed 200 human slaves. On a supply station, they stole enough weapons to arm 5 resistance cells. On a transport ship, they rescued families being moved to execution centers. Every victory cost something. People died. Good people. Brave people. Taiwan learned to carry those deaths inside him. To remember them. To honor them by keeping going. Dravosh fought beside him every time. The hunter and the human became a team that the Vraxians learned to fear. Stories spread about them. Some true, some exaggerated. It didn't matter. The stories themselves were weapons. One night, after a particularly difficult raid, Taiwan sat alone in his quarters on Haven Station. Haina found him there, staring at a list of names. People who had died under his command. "You carry too much," she said softly. "Someone has to," Taiwan replied. "Not alone." She sat beside him. "That's what we're all here for, to carry it together." "I never wanted this," Taiwan said. "I just wanted to be free, to live without fear." "I know," Hana said. "But freedom isn't something you just take. It's something you fight for. Every single day. And sometimes, you have to fight for other people's freedom too." Taiwan looked at his sister. When did she become so wise? 4 months after the escape from the Crimson Talon, the Vraxian Empire made an announcement. They placed a bounty on Taiwan's head. 1 million credits. The highest bounty in the galaxy's history. "Congratulations," Dravosh said when they heard the news. "You're officially dangerous." "I don't feel dangerous," Taiwan said. "I feel scared." "Good," Dravosh replied. "Fear keeps you smart. Arrogance gets you killed." Within a week, the first hunters arrived. Mercenaries. Assassins. Creatures from a dozen different species, all wanting the bounty. They expected to find a scared human hiding in the shadows. Instead, they found a network of resistance fighters who had learned from the galaxy's best hunter. They found traps and ambushes and coordinated attacks. Most bounty hunters died. A few escaped and spread the word. Taiwan the Defiant was not easy prey. On the 6-month anniversary of the escape, Haven Station received a transmission. It was from another species, the Kelrathi. They were a small empire, not particularly powerful, but independent. Their message was simple. "We have heard of your fight against the Vraxians. We do not love them either. We would speak with your leaders." It was the first time another species had reached out to the human resistance. The first time someone else saw them as more than slaves. Taiwan stood before a gathering of 10,000 humans on Haven Station. More watched remotely from other cells across the galaxy. He looked out at all those faces, young and old, scared and brave, all looking to him for hope. "They called us servants," Taiwan said, his voice carrying through speakers. "They called us broken. They believed we forgot how to fight. But we never forgot. We just waited. We learned. We grew strong in the shadows." The crowd was silent, listening. "Now they know the truth," Taiwan continued. "Humanity doesn't kneel. We never did. We never will. They can offer bounties. They can send hunters. They can threaten us with death. But we've already faced death. And we chose to live. We chose to fight." Cheers erupted, thousands of voices shouting as one. "This is just the beginning," Taiwan said. "The Vraxians have enslaved dozens of species, conquered hundreds of worlds. They think they're unstoppable. But we're going to teach them something they've forgotten. We're going to show the galaxy that tyrants can fall, that slaves can become warriors, that the smallest spark can start the biggest fire." The cheering grew louder. "They called me the Defiant," Taiwan said. "But I'm not special. I'm just one human who decided to stand up. And look what happened. Look how many of you stood up with me. That's our real strength. Not weapons. Not ships. Each other. Hana stood beside him now. Dravush on his other side. Yuna, Jinwoo, and Mireille behind him. Survivors of the Crimson Talon. The ones who started everything, so let them come. Taewon said. Let them send their hunters, their soldiers, their entire fleets. We'll be ready. Because we're not fighting alone anymore. We're fighting together. And together, we're unstoppable. The crowd roared. 10,000 voices, 20,000 across the galaxy. Soon, maybe more. Taewon looked up at the ceiling, imagining the stars beyond. Out there, the Vraxian Empire was watching. Probably planning. Definitely angry. Good. Let them be angry. Let them come. He had started as a servant, became a fighter. And now, whether he wanted it or not, he was a protector, a leader, a symbol. The galaxy would learn what that meant. The hunt was far from over. But this time, the humans were the ones doing the hunting.